Wrist Check Podcast, episode 32.
Yep.
Wow. It's crazy. Doesn't feel like it's been that many.
Flew by.
It did.
There's
really
one
did.
episode, actually one extra episode for every day of the month.
We got a lot of content.
Crazy it's been that many.
And
It
there's more
really
coming.
has. It's crazy because it hasn't been that long. This is, I think, maybe month 7 or 8.
Yeah.
I lost count. Lost track of time. Speaking of losing track of time, look who's back.
Rashawn's back.
Yes. Coming back from a Montauk living in Montauk chilling.
You just
A changed man.
Changed man. Got the dogs out, hanging out with the dogs.
Before we continue, because I want to get into this a little bit, we have to do our introduction.
Yeah.
My name is Perry,
I'm Rashawn.
I'm Ben.
and we make up the Wrist Check Podcast. Today, we have a special guest who's sitting on the couch with us.
A very, very special guest.
I'll let you
Two.
do the introduction.
We have Frank William and Norma Jean.
Frank and Norma Jean. There she is.
What's up?
Excited.
Hey. You said her
Coming
name,
over to
she's
say
coming
hi.
over. Making the rounds.
Hanging out? Okay. Respect. Yeah, she just wants a little love.
She wants love. You said her name.
She heard you say it. Now she's
Yeah.
like, all right.
Now she's
what's
like,
up?
I'm on the
Now
show,
I got
guys.
time to get mine.
Exactly.
First and last dog on the show
So we have
ever.
Frank's dog on the show with us today, and she's very sweet. So you've been in Montauk.
Yes.
I've been seeing videos of you surfing,
Yes.
living it up, partying.
So my newfound talent is I actually can surf.
Okay.
You can,
or you attempted
or you
to?
doing
Yeah.
it.
No, I'm doing it. I'm like surfing 2 times a week. I have a killer instructor, so shout out to Christian. He's the GOAT. Made me feel extremely comfortable on the surfboard and doing my thing.
Suburban dude, man.
Now I'm a suburban.
I ain't gonna lie. I didn't think wetsuits in your size existed, dog.
Yeah.
It's like a third layer of skin. It's like literally when I have to get it off, like they like peel it off me. Like I need help. Like
You gotta put some baby oil to get in there.
Oh, man.
right side, lube up.
Hey,
You stood
yo.
up. You stood up. You got to respect that.
Yes.
It's hard, man.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. I love that video too. Their hands in the air, like
Ew.
Well, but the thing was because it was so what was messed up was that it wasn't a video, it was a live photo. So I stand up and I'm like this to my
So it
instructor.
just looks like you're gonna fall under the
Yeah.
It looks like okay, great. So I'm working on some killer content. So you guys will see me in action very soon. I'm
Okay.
gonna get a GoPro and just like
I can't wait to see it.
yes.
Moving along, we've got to have our honorary wrist check.
Yes.
I'm going to start with you
Yes.
because you've been gone
Yes.
for a couple of weeks, and we're happy to have you back.
Thank you.
And I see a watch on your wrist that I recognize.
Yeah, I think this
That's
is a repeat.
been on the show
Yeah.
twice now already.
Twice now.
Mr. Never Repeat a Watch. Repeat
Wow.
a watch.
Look at him.
Did we catch you slipping or you
Three-peat.
just felt like
I think a
it?
three-peat
It
is a
is a
slip.
three-peat. It is a three-peat because I wore. Yeah, I think it might be a three-peat.
I think
You
you
wore
wore this
this
for your
with
episode
Ronaldo.
and Ronaldo.
When we
yeah.
Yes.
interviewed Ronaldo, you wore
Yes.
this.
So the craziest thing is in my travels back into the city, I couldn't pick up another watch. So I was like, well, you know what? If I'm going to repeat a watch, it's going to be this one.
That Montauk living.
Yes.
Montauk. You
70s
took the jitney back
Turnograph.
home?
Yes. No. I drove in.
Oh, okay. Excuse
3
me.
hours. It was steep.
First world problems.
Yes.
Facts.
So driving into Montauk, came to the studio and I was like, oh shoot, I don't have a watch. But I said if I was going to repeat a watch, it would be this one, 70s Turnograph. Like, what more can I say? It's just like,
It's it.
it's it.
That's it.
It's it. I mean, the Submariner's grandpa has a great story. Just super clean, really reliable, looks great with any and everything I wear.
Two-tone Jubilee.
Two-tone
Facts.
Jubilee,
Nice.
Timon gold bezel. Like, what more can you ask for?
It's an iconic Rolex
It's
for sure.
very
Yes.
iconic.
Yes.
It looks good on you.
Thank you.
Great Montauk fit.
Yes.
Facts.
My man's got the open toe dogs
He's got
out.
some sandals.
Got my
on.
sandals on. Listen, I have not worn socks since I've been to Montauk.
That's how you know it's real.
Listen,
It's changed you.
you gotta have sandals. You gotta have your Montauk merch. You know?
I don't think you have to have Montauk merch. I understand.
Ben, what are you rocking on the wrist?
I'm wearing the grandson to Rashawn's watch.
Okay.
Also a two-tone DateJust 36 millimeter, but
Wow.
a 2017 with the mother of pearl dial.
It's beautiful.
Roman numerals. Shout out to Bang Bang, Chris Bang over there in the background somewhere.
Shout out to Bang.
Banging watches on
Shout out to
Instagram.
Bang Bang.
This is the second time I steal his watch.
It's a good
The
one.
Grand Seiko I wore in the show was also his.
Yeah.
What I like about this watch from 2017, so it's obviously modern,
Mm-hmm.
but the alchemy on the gold back then was a little bit different.
Mm.
So the end links on this are actually starting to oxidize.
Yeah.
It looks really fucking good.
It looks nice.
It does. Now does it have the hidden clasp?
Yeah, Super
That's the one that
Jubilee,
has the hit-
hidden
yeah.
class for the
Yeah,
cameras.
that's a good one.
Yeah, and on my right wrist, I've been wearing this all day actually. It's the
Double
G-Shock
wristing.
that Perry got me, the snow camo.
Nice.
Looks good.
Yeah, I haven't worn it in a while, and I'm wearing black and white today, so just put it on to match the
Fire.
fit.
Respect. I guess we're Rolexed out this episode, which is funny for a group of guys that gives Rolex a lot of grief.
Yeah.
Here we are.
We all want one.
Yes.
I'm wearing the green 41 OP that you guys helped me secure. It's funny when I first got it, I was having a lot of trouble wearing it.
Yeah, you were hesitant on wearing it. I was trying to
was.
convince you for a long time.
You
to put it
have,
on.
and I think I've finally reached a point where I've grown into it, and so it's actually getting a lot of wrist time.
It's good.
There's something, I don't know, it's something about it where it's like I often thought that, the owning a Rolex kind of like the hype fades
Yeah.
after you get it. But I think when you get the one that you want, at least for me, it's been like a slow build into like one of my favorite watches to wear.
Oh, for sure.
And so I appreciate it more because this is the watch that I actually wanted.
Do people still point it out when you wear it?
Not often. It actually slips under the radar. It depends on the lighting, because in some lighting, it'll almost, if it's like really bright, it almost
Yeah.
looks black.
Sure.
So you can't see that it's the green OP, but then when people do see it, they do point it out. That happened to us when we were at the Oyster Bar
Yep,
event.
yep.
Someone pointed it out, and they were like, "Oh my God, it's green OP," and I took it off my wrist for them to check it out.
Yeah.
So that happens occasionally still,
Yeah.
but not very often.
Yeah.
Our guest of honor, Frank. What do you got over there? What's on the wrist? I see something special.
I got a vintage AP. I don't have the Rolex on today, but it's got the date and the moon phase.
It's beautiful.
So, yeah, it's I've been wearing this one pretty much every day since I got it, mainly because it's a pain in the ass to reset. But I don't know, I really like it.
Is that a 34 or 36 millimeter? I think it looks
34, I
like a 34
think.
from over here.
It's tiny.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
nice.
It's tiny.
It's
as
crazy
hell.
how in all these vintage cases they were so much thinner, and they fit all those complications in there.
It's crazy, yeah, when you think about it.
It's super comfortable. I think that's part of it too. It's like I don't know. I love this one. I look down at it and it's kind of just makes me feel a bit inspired. So I really enjoy
What
it.
year is it?
I have no idea.
I think
What
it's
do you think?
70s.
70s?
Really?
Yeah, early 70s. Yeah.
I thought it was like 90s, but I could be
No,
wrong.
I
I
don't
don't
think
know.
Yeah, no, it's sick. I mean, also too, like that silhouette and that design and that circa is like it.
The case on those is handmade too. It's
Yeah.
just like the Quantine Perpetuals. It's the same step case.
That's what I was gonna go into, like the step
Yeah.
case, like with that double layer. You have the case, and then it's not necessarily like a bezel,
No,
but it's like just like a step. It's
it almost
pretty
looks
cool.
like the bezel's missing from it.
Exactly.
It's what I love about it is we got into a conversation with some folks a little while ago. We were talking about styling watches, and I love the fact that you're wearing a vintage AP. I love the fact even more that it's not a Royal Oak or an
Facts.
offshore,
Mhm.
right? And then how you make it yours with your own style. I think a lot of people, when they think AP, they don't think someone like yourself, right? And I think
That makes sense.
because I think when you think about different brands of watches, in people's minds, there's always an archetype of how that person should look. And what I love about our show and what I love about you is there's a breaking of the mold, right? And an expansion in terms of the types of people who have an affection for watch collecting and timepieces.
Mhm.
And much like the way that you are collecting watches today, you're an artist and you collect tattoos, So I want to talk a little bit about really just who you are
Okay.
first, where you're from, and your profession. So who is Frank? Where is he from?
Oh man. Well, I was born in Phoenix, Arizona, but my family moved around a lot growing up. We,
Okay.
Like, not military or anything like that. Just separating, changing jobs, what have you. We were all over the place. The longest I've lived anywhere actually in my life is New York City.
Oh,
And I've
really?
been here like 7 or 8 years now. So it's like it's hard to answer because when people are like, "Oh, where were you from? Where were you born and like raised?" It's like, well, I was born here, but I was kind of raised all over the damn place. So it's a hard thing to answer.
What place feels more like home?
All of my extended family is in northeastern Ohio.
Okay.
So that's like a place I've always gone back to for holidays and whatnot. I would say the Midwest probably feels most like home. I spent a lot of time in Chicago, Ohio. Yeah, I don't know. I would say that's probably would be considered home. I don't have family in Arizona. I was just born there.
Right.
So, I mean, at this point, New York feels like home, but
Yeah.
all my family is in that place.
Got
So,
you.
Yeah.
I was
What-
hoping you said that.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I was hoping you say New York felt like home. We got 2 New Yorkers on the couch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, longest I've been anywhere. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
And how did you? Were you always illustrating, drawing, making art?
Oddly enough, no, not at all.
How did that happen?
So, when my father had tattoos, and my stepfather, my mother, and so I was like seeing them, and I was like, damn, these are cool. You know, I always thought like, oh, this is something that.
Were they collecting tattoos?
No, hell
Okay.
no. They were just like, they had a few. My dad had some really good ones, but I was like, okay, this is cool. This is probably something that I'll look into when I get older. And I was getting tattooed, and I asked this guy that was tattooing me, and I was like, hey, what does it take to do this job? And this was at a time where it's like, it wasn't terribly long ago, probably like, I've been tattooing almost 15 years. So I would say like 16, 17-ish years ago. And it was still a scary time to ask a question like that. You kind of just like wouldn't. But I felt comfortable enough to be like, hey, what does it take to do this? Because I thought he would say you have to be like a crazy illustrator or whatever. And he was like, oh, well, you have to have a critical eye. And then I asked him to explain that. And, he's like, well, you have to be analytical and be able to figure out what makes something better or worse and why. And I was like, oh, I could definitely do that. And then everything else kind of fell into place through learning. And I think of it in a very like formulaic sense. It's like, this is the formula for this thing. And then you're just plugging these things in to get the desired outcome.
So did you start like sketching and drawing first, or did you go immediately into tattooing?
Well, of course, you're like practicing and like tracing old designs and like watching like crazy and all these things. And the second place I went to work at, I didn't have like a traditional apprenticeship in the, what you would think of, or what most people I guess would think of and what that entails. But it was something. I learned some valuable things, and I'm very thankful for it. But then things kind of got sour, and I went to work at this other place, and he pretty much just like threw me to the sharks. Like,
really?
Buy this stuff, you're doing it.
Wow.
And I had done a few tattoos at that point on like a friend who actually tattoos now, which is funny. But it was just like, all right, you're on the door.
How old were you when you got your first tattoo?
17, right about to be 18.
And you started tattooing shortly after that?
Yeah, I think I was 19.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure it was like around that time. I'm terrible with like dates and things like that. I can't remember 2 weeks ago, but yeah, it was somewhere.
And your style of tattooing is called what?
American traditional.
American traditional. Did
Yeah.
you start with that aesthetic, or
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So you found it very early what you like.
Yeah, and it's like, I feel like American traditional, Japanese tattooing, and maybe like tribal. Those are like the things that there's a lot of other stuff, and I can appreciate other things even if I don't do it. I can look at something and be like, well, that's really impressive. Maybe the same as a watch. Like you look at something and you're like, well, shit, I would never want that, but I can appreciate the craftsmanship.
Sure,
that went
That's
into
been
that.
the theme on the show lately.
It's kind of similar, but yeah, I would say those three things I feel like I really enjoy looking at or trying to have some part of.
That's awesome. And so now, how many years have you been tattooing?
It will be 15 around Christmas.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's incredible.
How many
And-
different states have you tattooed in?
Dude, so many. I started in Ohio, then I was in Michigan, then like traveled for a little bit, then I was in Virginia, then Chicago, and now New York.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And so I know. So the way that you came here, like I met you through Ben. I think Ben has gotten a lot of work done by you. How did the two of you guys
work on
meet?
the arm. It's actually a
wanna tell
funny
it? You want me
story.
to tell it?
So, well, you can tell your side.
Okay,
Because there's
all right.
there's some pieces we had to put together.
I'd
when
love
we
to hear
met.
your side of it.
So, a friend of the show who's also been on the show, Nick Milo.
Oh, okay.
Nick's been tattooed at Smith Street a couple times,
Mm.
and by Frank and by some of the other guys there.
Shout out to Nick.
Shout out to Nick.
Shout out.
So he
Nick
came.
was our first guest on the show.
He was.
His episode was great.
It was. Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
It was
with Nick that
insightful.
evening. He is. He's an insightful guy.
So he came. He came to see me, and he was like, "Yo, like, do you know this guy Frank William?" And I was like, "Nah, what shop is he at?" And he was like, "Smith Street." And I was like, "Yeah, well, I know Smith Street. I've never been there. I've never bothered to look at anybody there. Like, nah, I don't know Frank." So he's like, "Well, I told Frank. Frank was talking to me about watches. I told him he has to come talk to you." And I was like, "All right, cool." Frank never came to talk to me. Never heard from him. Nothing.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, maybe 2-3 weeks goes by, I think, when we actually met. So Frank walks in, and I just so happened to be the guy talking to him. I was just there. So we
Were
started
you
talking.
wearing a watch? Was he wearing a watch when this happened?
Yeah, he's wearing a. Well, we'll get to it.
Okay.
Or we'll show it.
All right.
I'll point it out when we do the dump.
Okay.
But he walks in. I didn't really pay attention to what he was wearing or anything like that, and we just started shooting the shit for like 45 minutes. And then he's like, "Yo, do you know this guy named Nick?" And I was like, "Wait, you're fucking Frank William from Smith Street?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "You supposed to text me like 3 weeks ago. What the fuck?" And then from there, it was just it.
That's funny.
We just hit it off.
What's your side of the story?
My side of the story is I ran into Nick on the street and I'm talking to him about watches, and he had just gotten something. I'm like, "How did you even get that?" What, like, obviously, you know, it's damn near impossible to get shit. And I was like, "How did you even get that?" And he was like, "Oh,
Was it the Explorer?
I feel like it was a Yachtmaster."
I don't even remember what it was.
It had to be. He doesn't have a Yachtmaster.
It was the Explorer.
It had to be the
or-
Explorer.
Yeah, I think it was the Explorer.
It was the
Didn't
Explorer.
have a Yachtmaster? You
No,
sure?
he has
No,
an Explorer
had an
too.
Explorer 1 and 2.
Yeah,
So
Okay,
it was
so
one of those.
maybe that's what it was. But I was
I think
like,
it was the Explorer 1.
Yeah, it had to be.
It was the Explorer
okay.
1.
I was like, "How the hell did you even get that?" And he was like, "Oh, well, I got it here, and you should go talk to this guy, and blah blah blah." And I was like, "Oh, all right." And then I'm a procrastinator. What can I say? And then yeah, you know, I guess I just stopped in, and then I was like, "Oh shit, this is the guy he was speaking
And
about."
it was because of. I mean, I think I had my sleeves rolled up, and you were like, "Who did that on you?"
But we hit it off pretty good.
No, we hit it off
Because
off
sometimes
rip.
you know, it's like you meet people and it's like sometimes
Yes.
it's funky or this or
Yes.
that,
Sure.
but like, yo, we were boys straight
before
from
before
the
we
rip.
were talking without even introducing ourselves to each other.
Yeah.
And then I think you pointed out a specific tattoo that someone you knew did, and I was like, "Yeah, that's who did it." And then
Yeah.
that's when we like made the introduction. And I was like, "You're Frank from Smith Street."
So I have tattoos, but I'm not really like entrenched in that world. So explain what it's like for someone who's kind of on the outskirts, where there are people who collect tattoos. Like
Yeah.
you know who the artists are. You
Sure.
visit the shops that you know they have residencies in or they're working with. What is that about? Explain that culture.
I mean, it's kind of like there's people that have been in the game a long time and they've built up a reputation, or maybe someone does some special thing that you really enjoy and you seek that out because you want it for yourself. And I don't know. I think it depends on each person. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like how you view it. You might be like, well, I need tattooed by this individual or that one because of this thing. And then as you get deeper in the rabbit hole and learn more and more, it's just kind of like, it's such a world within a world, and the's worlds in that world.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it seems like to me.
Yeah,
And-
there is for sure.
The funniest thing too is like, you know, I like how Perry, like, you kind of pair the idea, or at least like the fact that like you are collecting tattoos.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a fact. Nick said it in his episode too.
100%.
He pointed it out. He's like, you collect tattoos the same way you collect watches.
Exactly.
It's a commitment, especially when you're doing this shit to your body. This shit hurts.
I would say too,
Yeah.
there's a difference between like, you can just get tattooed by whoever and
Right.
not know shit.
Exactly.
But then there's a different level of like, okay, I'm learning about these people. I'm learning about the history of this shop or that shop or this individual, and I would like to get tattooed by them because of X reason. You know,
I think because you have a lot of tattoos doesn't mean you're collecting them.
And that's kind of what I'm hinting at, because that's a whole new world for myself that I began to learn about through Ben.
Yeah.
Right. Like I knew people who had like American traditional tattoos or even like the Japanese tattoos. But I didn't understand until like we started kicking it that like, oh no, it's
like a thing.
It's these are collectors.
Yeah.
Like there are people who are following very particular artists because they're dialed into their aesthetic and they're fans of their work, much like you would collect art.
Yeah.
But it's body
100%.
art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, a watch tells time, but it's like there's different levels to this shit. You know what I mean? And Smith Street is the highest level.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I don't mean to sound egotistical. I felt that way even before I was there. It's the one.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like for me personally, like before I even started collecting tattoos, I got lucky early on. So I got tattooed when I was 15 for the first time.
Oh wow.
And it's a piece of shit tattoo. It doesn't exist anymore. I covered it, whatever. Right.
Sure.
But because I got tattooed so early on, I was also able to meet really good tattoo artists from all over the world.
Interesting.
So I was just meeting them, not getting their work done right away, but getting to know them. And then I would see who they were around, the shops they would be at. And just from talking to people in that world, I was put on at an early age, like, this is what this kind of tattoo should look like. There's people who try to replicate it, and you can tell when it's a replica. You can tell this by someone who doesn't always do that style. If it was on like a street shop, and by street shop, I mean just, you could just walk in and they'll do whatever you want just because they need the cash.
Right.
It's not that they specialize in a certain thing, or tattooing is a luxury. There's an experience that goes with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And once you walk into a shop or you find the people who can give you that experience, that's when you know that you're going on the route to being a tattoo collector, because you're going to come back for more.
So this is very interesting to me because I see a lot of similarities with watch collecting. You know, one of the terms that you use,
Is relationships.
which I love, it's based on relationships. And one of the terms you use that I love, you were talking about like having a critical eye. And when I think about it, and maybe it's different from your point of view, let me know if it is. But to me, a critical eye doesn't mean that you see things the same as everyone else.
Yes.
Right? You see it through your own lens, but you're very intentional about what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Right? And so I see a lot of similarities with that with watch collecting, and I'm curious if maybe you feel like you're using the same or a similar method in terms of how you're collecting watches. Are you using a critical eye, right?
I maybe to a certain degree, but like I'll be honest, I feel like I didn't know anything about watches other than like, okay, I know Rolex is like, everyone knows that. Even if you never had a watch, you've heard of this thing, right?
Right.
But then honestly, and I'm not saying this to blow smoke, this podcast and Ben helped me learn so much more
blow
about
smoke,
shit.
Blow smoke. Put it up in the air. Send a bat signal.
It's crazy, you know, because it's like, dude, even something about just like movements, like things I would never know. Like I listen to this and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like I never knew that. And I'm getting lost in my train of thought here. But yeah, I didn't know shit about watches.
Yeah.
So I would say, yeah, maybe the critical eye thing is a bit, but also just like, I'm also feel like it's important to know your place in things. And like, I don't know shit. So I'm not going to walk into the watch store and tell you this and that about this thing. I'm here because I need your expertise because you do this.
Right.
So I trust your knowledge because you're a pro and I'm a nobody. And so I want to come here and like learn and like absorb that knowledge, and I'm thankful for it. And I feel like it's the same when Ben comes to the shop or Rashawn. It's like they're willing to listen and they know I'm going to steer them in the right direction because I want the best for them.
Yeah.
And I feel like it goes the same way when it comes to the watches. I know they want the best for me. So I really, defer to their judgment as well. And like, obviously if I think something's whack and I don't like it, then I don't like it.
Fact.
But sometimes too, it's like, you can also be persuaded in a way.
How many times have you shown me something and I'm like, you don't want that shit?
Dude, so many times, dude. So many times.
Ben has a really good eye for things that are very tasteful. And knowing you guys' relationship and like me kind of like coming in because I have been tattooed at Smith Street as well.
We got matching tattoos, dog.
Yeah, we do. We actually do have matching tattoos.
Bang Bang's a triplet. Shout out to him again.
Shout out to Bang Bang. We're the tattoo triplets. But the coolest thing is watch collecting and tattooing and you guys' relationship is very relative because it's all built on trust. The pieces that you have acquired, the information that you receive is based on the trust that you have for Ben. The same as, the first time that he was tattooed by you, he trusted that, okay, this is permanent.
Yo, it's crazy. You using that word trust, and 2 hours ago, we said that.
I think trusting people in a professional situation is a skill too, because it's a lot of people don't, and it's not easy to go in and just be like, okay, I have to trust this person.
Yes.
And it's tricky because you're walking a fine line where it's like, I feel like when it comes to anything like a tattoos or a lawyer, a plumber, a welder, a doctor, someone trying to sell you a watch, like it's hard and there's levels, and it's just because they can do the job doesn't mean they're going to be good at it.
It's the right job.
It doesn't always mean that they have your best interest.
Exactly too.
Yeah.
That's
so I think that's really the key difference, because when you meet someone that you know is genuine,
yes,
then the floodgates kind of open up, right?
Yeah.
Because
it's so special.
It's special because there's also like you coming from a particular background, him coming from you with the tattoos, him with the watches. There's a point where you guys meet in the middle where now you guys are exposed to so many other things.
yes.
And so the opportunity to learn and engage other ideas, concepts, art forms, people, artists, watchmakers, etc., like is all open to you now. Like this whole new world is open to you via a relationship with someone who you trust and that also has the best intentions for you. Right?
I literally said that to Frank earlier. When he was tattooing my leg, and he was like, I'm going to do this way for this reason, and this is how it's going to work. And I was like, I trust you implicitly. That was the exact word.
Oh, for sure.
I used.
Not a lot of people that can say that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, where are the watches, man? You brought some watches for us?
I got the watch.
Where's the watches?
Where's the watches? Uh-oh.
How you want me to
Just
put these
dump
out?
them out of the bag.
Can I move this a bit?
Go ahead.
Okay, we got some watches here.
Yeah, we got
Alright,
got some hitters.
This is the one that
Yes, you have
We're gonna get to it,
We have
yes.
to get to that.
will you want me to
Perry.
just put them all out or what?
Yeah, just lay them down.
So we can start with that one too, actually. Let's start with this.
That's a very special piece.
So this is, I'll let you know what.
Actually,
yes, please,
very, very,
because
very special piece. You know how to
Let me,
speak on this.
everyone wants to hear, we have to hear your tagline. This is what?
So this is a very, very special watch. This piece is actually, I guess, it's a part of our relationship because we all four share this timepiece.
Yeah.
So Frank, you have black. Ben, you have
Red.
white. You have
No,
red.
I have the
red.
white stripe.
You have white, and then I have
Blue, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Red, white, and blue.
so we all have the colors that make up the American flag.
Yeah.
In which, like, this piece is in conjunction with
This
the
was
Olympics.
with the Los Angeles, I think was it 84 or 94?
I think it's 94.
It's 94.
I don't
So
know.
they're saying in the back?
It's such like it's like kind of funny, but
I want to say
saw 'em,
84.
and I got them, and I was like, this
1980.
is perfect for these guys.
1980.
1980. It says on the back.
Let me see.
It says 1980 Olympic Committee.
That's the committee. So but the Olympics,
It was probably in 84.
it was in 84.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this was a commission piece. This has the the Olympic Eagle logo on it. So one of the most interesting things to me about this watch, timeout, let me back up. So you gifted us all, as Rashawn was telling me, you gifted us this watch. When you gifted this to us, that was the first time I met you,
Yes.
which is awesome. Like,
Yeah.
how often the first time
And
you
it
meet
was
someone
and it
who
was
you've
a
heard
chance
about
happening too.
has a gift for you.
Yeah.
And we had, I think I had came to visit you guys,
Yeah.
and we were hanging out. And then I think you said, "Oh, Frank's outside. He wants to come in. He wants to meet you." And you brought us these gifts. And I gotta admit, I was floored
Yes.
because it's not every day that you meet someone that gives you a gift.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with
Nonetheless,
this
a
watch
watch.
immediately. So one thing the guys know about me, I'm not a big Olympic dude. Obviously, I'm a big watch guy. but I like to grill.
Facts.
And the 4th of July is my Olympics.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, that's right. And so this is my honorary 4th of July watch.
Respect.
Well, honestly, this is my honorary
That's your grilling watch.
Yeah.
So
had it
whenever
on
I
last
grill,
Sunday.
Love that.
whenever I fire it up, I'm either wearing this watch or my G-Shock. But I wear this one often. This is like, this watch gets me in the mood. When I throw this on, I'm firing up the grill.
Yo, they
Absolutely.
insane, dude.
Yeah, the movements are
it's
sound-
so
it's so-
loud.
yeah, it's so
the
loud.
movements are
It's so
stupid
crunchy.
crispy.
It's so loud.
Yeah, super crispy.
And for a manual movement that is over 30 years old, it keeps impeccable tone.
yeah, it's very pristine.
I mean, this is dead stock.
Did we ever
dead
figure
stock,
out what
dead stock.
movement is in that?
I have no idea.
Well,
But
yes,
going back to what I was going to say first, I'm sorry, and I'll let you get to it.
yeah,
The thing that was most interesting to me about this piece that made me really, really love it was the fact that, yes, it has Sam the Olympic Eagle, and this was made for the Los Angeles 1984 Olympics. It was the Olympics in America.
Yep.
And at the bottom, where most mechanical watches, you might see something that says like Swiss made, and you would assume on this one would say like made in the USA.
Facts.
Hong Kong.
that's amazing.
How hilarious is that?
Yes,
I mean,
It's
that's
so
it.
funny.
Doesn't get more American than that, though. Does
It really does.
yes, exactly. But what I was gonna get at is like, you know, I think a couple weeks prior to Frank gifting us these timepieces, he literally came up to me and was like, "Yo, I'm learning so much from the podcast. I love the show." Like, it was genuine. I mean, and Frank's a genuine person. Like, he's someone that like you can look into his eyes and you know that he means everything.
And he
says.
tells you everything in your fucking eyeballs.
Like, it's like legit. Like,
He's a
yes,
man.
like
Look me in the eyes.
he like as a man, he looks you in the eyes and he tells you how he feels and he tells you about yourself.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Man, I'm learning so much from the podcast. Thank you guys." Literally was like, "Thank you." I don't even think you were around too.
Nah,
So-
I think I was outside.
Yeah, like, so it was funny too because, like, you know, of course, like, I've known Frank, but not as tight knit at that time as you guys are. But, you know, Frank came up to me and was like, "Yo, I really appreciate what you guys are doing." And I was like, "Man, I kind of feel that." I feel that. Like,
Yeah.
it's real.
Yeah, it meant something.
What's
Meant
cool
something.
about this too, we interviewed a gentleman who's also a friend of the pod recently. He's a film director. His name is Jamal Parham, and he's from Los Angeles. And he remembered the episode when we wore this on the show, which was the same day we got it. And he's been looking for these.
Yeah.
He's from Los Angeles. He collects 1984 Los Angeles Olympics memorabilia. And he was like, "Dude, I was so jealous because when you got this," he was like, "I've been looking for this watch." How did you find this?
He found, not only did he find the watch, he found
You
four
found like
of them.
six
He found
of them.
four of them.
Yeah.
My secrets, just digging, dude. Tons of digging.
Did you know what you found when you came across these?
I didn't. You know why I like that is because obviously like images are a huge part of my whole entire world, you know? And so I love them. And so this has an image on it and I'm like, yo, number one, it's an eagle.
Yeah, Eagles
Yeah.
are
Number
the
two, it's
tattooing
like
community.
some super USA shit.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it's just cool.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just cool. And then I found the four of them and I was like, all right, like I'm gonna hook everyone up. So
Yeah.
why
Yeah,
not?
I love
You know
it.
what I mean?
I love it.
Like I don't know. It just seemed things fell into place. It made sense.
So I did some digging too, just looking online, trying to see if I could find them. I only found one up for sale. But what I did find was they also released a bunch of digital watch versions of these
Really?
that are still available.
The Eagles still on it.
The Eagles on it just looks different, and they're like they're just a digital. They have like the little bar and the digital
Yeah,
reader. But man, this was a special treat, and I wear this watch often, and it ticks so loudly.
It's so.
And
I
when
think that's the best part.
So-
someone
I
said
love-
it sounds like
Yeah.
a time bomb. And it really does.
well, and when you wound it up, it's like
You can hear it from there.
It's a movement.
it's so
ASMR.
crunchy.
Yeah.
And there are times like when I wear this watch and I'll set it on my nightstand at night. If I wake up
You
in the
hear it
night,
ticking?
I hear it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
and
loud.
it sounds like a ticking time
Yeah.
bomb.
Yo,
This
it's
thing is
mad
crazy.
No, it's amazing.
That's awesome, dude. Thank you for that.
Of course.
Appreciate that.
I'm happy y'all enjoy them.
Absolutely.
Perry had his on last Sunday. He was grilling.
Yeah.
I did.
You shared it on this on the show.
I threw it up.
I mean
yeah.
on the Instagram. Frank, my question to you because you figured out your niche very early, having a meticulous eye, having the attention to detail, and knowing that you are a collector or like a lover of a specific thing. When did it hit you that watches would be, the next thing or one of the few things that you do collect?
I think I enjoy learning about things. I just like it, whether it's like airplanes or watches or tattooing or whatever it may be, dogs, whatever. But the thing that I think really holds my attention when it comes to watches, the engineering side blows my mind.
Yeah.
It's magic to me. I don't understand how you can make things so small, fit into this little thing on your wrist, and they do all these incredible things. Like, it's mind blowing to me. It's so impressive and it's so cool.
Yeah.
And then, just learning about all the different things that go along with it. It's just so interesting, and the histories of things. It's like, I just think it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's impressive, and I feel like there's a lot to learn, and that's like nice to be like, okay, this is going to take a long time.
Yeah, like
there's
you'll
a
never know
lot
everything.
to unpack here.
What was the first timepiece that kicked it off for you?
So the very first watch I ever got was the GMT, and when I had started at Smith, some of those boys are on the watch thing. And they were like, you should get a watch. And I was like, I never even worn a watch. Like, What do you mean? I can't imagine having this thing on my wrist. And they're like, you should just get yourself a watch. And then so I was like, okay, well, I've been tattooing 10 years. I got the job at this place that I've admired forever. Like, yeah, maybe I will treat myself. And this was like right before it became impossible to get these shits.
Yeah.
And I want to say, like, they were like, hey, do you want it? Because we're going to put in the word if you do. It was something like that. And I was like, yeah. And then I want to say it was like a month or two. It wasn't that long. I can't remember exactly, but it wasn't that long. And they're like, okay, we got your watch. And I was like, holy shit.
You're about to buy this.
I'm buying this thing. I'm doing this. Like, holy cow, And then I got it and I was like, whoa, this is like amazing. This is so cool. And then I was like, wow, I really enjoy this. And then
So did you when you were going through this, were you seeking out this specific model?
They pointed me in the direction of that because I didn't know anything. They were like, "This is what you should get," and I was like, "All right." Once again, it comes to the trust thing. Like, yo,
And
these
so
guys
what
aren't
this
going to
watch
steer me wrong.
is, for those who are listening and not watching, what I'm currently holding in my hand is a Rolex GMT. This is the black ceramic bezel.
Yeah. GMT Master 2.
GMT Master 2 with the green GMT hand.
Yep.
So this was your first Rolex.
That was my first watch. Period.
This was your first watch. There's a lot of people who are going to be upset by that statement.
I got really lucky. And it's like I had looked at watches when I was a kid. We'd be like in a store and it was like, there's G-Shocks. And I was like, damn, that's so cool. But I didn't think I could ever get one. And then the time came and I was like, yeah,
I'm going to get a Rolex.
So what year was this just about?
I want to say that was maybe 4.5-ish years ago I got that.
Like early
So like
2018?
2018-ish.
Think so.
Okay.
In the summertime I got it.
Okay.
So probably right before they got rid of it.
Yeah.
It had to be right before.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, that's so interesting. What I love about just looking at this piece, it is scratched up.
I mean, I wore it every day.
No, and I love that. This is, you've made it your watch. It looks awesome. And one of the things that, we look at a lot of watches, and a lot of people, when it comes to Rolex, they treat it like it's very, very precious.
Yeah.
And sure, it is, right? Because they are difficult to get and the price point and everything. But they're tool watches. And what I personally love about vintage Rolexes is the fact that you can look at them and see that they've lived a life. And you don't often see modern Rolexes that look like this. People are really treating them like precious. And this is something that looks like it looks how it should. It looks how it should, but it also looks like it could be 20 years old.
Yeah.
I can't keep anything precious, man.
I love that.
Like, this one I'm wearing is thrashed. It's covered in there's pigment all over the strap. It's like even if I wanted and tried so hard to keep something nice, I would not be capable of doing it.
It's beautiful too, man. And it's scratched
Yeah, you can
and,
see
and
scratches.
buffed up. You can see everything. No, but that's so good too.
You should
because
engrave
it's
it.
like, dude, I would never get this polished. Don't ever polish this
No,
watch.
I don't plan on
And
it.
the case edges are still incredibly sharp.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an
They're
incredible.
going to stay sharp unless you polish them.
Exactly.
That's the thing a lot
That's
of people
the thing.
don't
They
really
don't realize.
recognize.
And so this thing has a lot of character, and it makes me hopeful about owning a modern Rolex, that you can still make it yours and it will develop character, and over time it will look better than it did when you purchased it.
Yes.
This thing looks amazing.
That's what I was gonna get at too, is the fact that like that piece literally right now is telling a story.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, for someone like myself, like I've shared on the show, like I love vintage Rolex. I don't think that I personally would collect new Rolex. It's not in my thought process right now.
I think you could get there.
He
I-
will.
You're going to get there.
Well, okay, so
Mister, I want a GMT.
I'm
exactly.
gonna let
Mr.
the cat,
My Holy
so I'm gonna
Grail
let
is
the
a
cat-
GMT.
So I'm gonna let the cat out the bag.
Don't let the cat out the bag.
Okay. Well, I did tell you guys I committed to a piece.
Uh-oh.
I have committed to another vintage Rolex.
Can I guess what it is?
I know what it is.
I think we
you
know
didn't
what
tell
it
me either.
I'm pretty sure you guys got it.
What is it, Explorer?
It's an Explorer.
No.
It's a sub.
I did.
It's a Burfier sub.
No. It's not. It's not. It's actually, I changed the gears.
You got a
Changed the
GMT.
gears. We'll talk about it off.
He got a
camera.
root beer.
Well, you know what? It is rose gold. I'll say that.
Oh, look at this guy.
It is rose gold, but I didn't get a root beer. But I did commit to a vintage Rolex because I feel like, I love things that have history and past lives, and this piece already here is telling you a story.
Yeah, but
don't-
you can make something have a story as well.
That's what he's going to do with that new
Well,
Rolex.
but that's what you did with this piece, and I can't stress enough how amazing this piece looks.
Thank you.
Obviously, this was your everyday watch for a really long time.
Yeah.
I mean, you wore this a
Years.
lot. And when I'm stressing to people, like, we'll share it on camera for those who are watching. But for those that are listening, the watch doesn't look bad. So when I describe it having like scratches and I mean, there's really no nicks.
It looks like a loved watch.
It looks like a loved watch. Like, it doesn't look bad. It looks really, really cool. It looks badass. It looks the way that you would want a GMT to look.
Yes.
It means a lot to me.
It looks
I'll
well
never get rid
traveled.
of that.
Yeah. This thing is awesome, dude.
Thank you.
This thing is awesome. Did you ever, kind of think of yourself as a Rolex guy? I didn't
No.
think so. What was that like? Like, coming to terms with, like, A, buying your first Rolex, and B, like, your first watch being a Rolex?
I think in my head it was like, okay, if someone were to look at me, they probably think this doesn't belong.
Yeah.
But it's also like, we're in New York City, so it's different. Like, you kind of can't judge a book by its cover.
Exactly.
It's like someone may look like absolute shit, but they might be some like eccentric millionaire artist or whatever. So you kind of just like, people shouldn't be doing that anyway, but
Yes.
you really can't do that here.
Yeah.
So I was like, damn, this is kind of like tight, to be like, I know it looks like I shouldn't have this, but it's
Yeah.
like, I worked for it.
You absolutely
I made
did.
the money. I bought the shit. Like, this is mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was more of like, okay, like I said about getting that job and putting in 10 years into a career, like, this is a nice reward.
It is.
I'm proud to have this.
Absolutely.
It's a nice reminder of like, you put your nose to the grindstone and you work for something, and it's
Hard work can actually pay off.
it can,
Yep.
even
Yes.
if it's just in the form of a watch. A house would be really tight.
Sure.
But, a watch is a very it's special. Especially I feel like the first one. It's like, if I ever have a kid someday or something, maybe that goes down to them. It's like, I don't, unless it's like I'm about to be on the street, I'm not getting rid of that.
Sure.
Yes.
A
And
watch
even
is
then,
a-
maybe I wouldn't. I'll just be cruising
Yeah.
around. You
It's
see
just be
me
that
out
dude on the
there, and
street
I'm
with
like,
Nah,
a
legit.
GMT
What's that fool doing with that
Rolex.
GMT on?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Just like this, like, homeless dude.
that we always see. Oh my god.
Knock
Yeah.
on wood. Let's hope
Yo,
it never
we
gets
always
there.
see
Come on.
this dude who's very obviously homeless. We've seen him sleeping in the street,
Yes.
literally wearing Like what? Is it rose gold?
A rose
gold
gold
day.
Yeah, the joke is on you. He's not
Exactly.
who you think
but
he
that's
is.
the point. And
Yes.
we're like, what the fuck is going on? Every time we see this guy.
Yeah.
He's got that one thing he would not let go of. And He
Yeah.
can cash it in any time. and
Or he's just
turn his life
just
around.
living, the
Dude,
hobo
that
life.
may be the thing that's keeping him going.
Yeah.
He loses that and it's lights out.
Sure.
Yeah.
That watch gives him a reason. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Whatever.
We
No,
can
I
imagine.
think you know. You probably know this guy.
So
Shit.
the GMT was your first watch.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a wild guess and say the G-Shock was your second.
No. Actually, my second watch was the one I'm wearing, the AP.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. So that thing, let's just make this clear.
Yeah. He's goes from like Rolex and is like, yeah, I'm gonna get an AP.
Frank starts with GMT, moves on to a vintage AP.
Well, I love things to do with space and whatnot, and
Sure.
Ben knows this. Like, if it has to do with the moon,
If it has
or
a moon
space,
phase on it,
we're
he's
like,
sold.
let's go.
Okay.
We need this. And I was like, damn, I kind of like.
So you got this from Ben.
No, I didn't.
He
I'm
got- he
ashamed
got-
to say it. I don't.
he-
Even, let's
he-
not even talk about it.
I helped.
He
I
did
helped.
help. He consulted me on it.
Okay.
Which I'm very thankful for.
Sure,
because,
he does that too.
Yeah, I have to ask a billion questions before I do anything because I'm an overthinker and
So when did
indecisive,
this
so he
piece come
helped.
into your life?
October last year.
And what was going on when this happened? How did this come about?
He saw it and wanted it.
Yeah, that's basically it. I was like, yo, well, also too learning about like, someone would have said the word complications to me. I would have been like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, what is that? What do you mean? And then learning about these things, I'm like, oh my God, the day, the date, and the moon phase. You could give me something that I wear on my wrist. It doesn't even tell time. It just has something to do with the moon. And I'm going to be like, let's go.
Nice.
That's tight,
Yes.
But this was my second one. I got this in October of last year. And I just saw it and I was like, damn, I really want that.
Right.
So
Wow.
that was the second one.
Wow.
I'll pass this over to you if you want to
Please,
see it.
yeah,
Really
let's
look at
check
the
that out.
strap.
You were
It's
gonna say
like
something?
kind of. I wear this thing every day. It goes to work with me every day.
I was-
Yeah, you had it on today.
I was gonna go into because Frank has a fascination with astronomy. For everybody that has been following the show, when we did share our MoonSwatch experience,
Frank was there.
Frank was there, and actually,
Mobbed
That's
with
right.
us.
That was
Yes.
Frank mobbed with us.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was talking to someone about that recently.
Yes.
And because that experience was, listen, I've never got online for anything like that in my life, and I never would again.
It's crazy.
But for some reason, I was compelled for this. And I can't quite explain it other than the fact that I really love Omega.
Yes.
And I really love the Speedmaster.
it was exciting.
It was exciting.
We had a
and
really good time.
we had an amazing time. None of us got the fucking thing,
Nope.
right?
Not that night. At least.
But we showed up. I think it was originally like 5 of us, and it grew to maybe like between 30 to 40 of us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Squad.
Yeah, we had
Just,
everybody.
I mean, people online were pissed. They're like, these fucking guys.
There was one guy in particular that
Yeah, I
was,
remember.
was
He was
trying
tight
to mouth off.
It
you
was
know?
like when
But-
person number 35 came, he's like, come on.
yeah, 34 was okay, but 35 is
It
a
was like,
problem.
enough.
Also, if that guy's watching the show, you a bozo because you ain't stay the whole time. You left. Fuck you.
Listen, they only had, how many watches did they have? It was like
Well,
60?
supposedly they said they had 69. LOL. That was not true.
Yeah, no.
No.
Yeah.
They had a
What-
little more than that. I think
69.
They had
What a
closer to
number.
100.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
'cause
they
we were-
probably had 100.
Someone took account. Well, our
By the
friend
time
Eric
they
took
sold their
account.
last watch, there was maybe 20 people in front of us.
Yeah.
Yes.
y'all stayed the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Until they were
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
no more.
We stayed till like 11.
We
Yeah.
stayed till well after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, had a ball. It was like, and we met people too, people whom we still speak with online, and I likened it to like lining up for a concert for your favorite brand and wearing their T-shirt or wearing a T-shirt with the band on it, because we were running into people that were wearing Speedmasters.
Yeah, a lot of
we
people
had
had
friends
Speedmasters
showing
on.
up wearing different references of Speedmasters.
Yeah.
I wore my vintage Speedmaster.
Yeah.
And we stood there online and we just talked watches and we talked shop and I mean, I even got into a conversation with a gentleman just talking about, we discovered that we actually lived in the same neighborhood, and we were talking about being fathers and our children and school, and man, it was awesome.
That's amazing.
It was awesome.
The coolest thing about that piece too is it doesn't have a seconds hand.
That's the best. We were talking about that. Me and Perry were talking about it the other day. It's like
Yeah, it's crazy.
we really like not having a seconds hand on our watch. It's like magic every time.
It is like a magic trick. You just look at it and the time
And it
changes.
just advances and it moves.
If you look at that watch too, Frank was right. Even the strap is pitch black, but if you look at it close enough, there's literally spots of ink on it
Yeah.
Oh wow!
from tattooing. And if you turn the case over, there's black ink on the back, on the gold case back.
Wow, I can see it.
I
yeah.
can't keep anything nice. No matter.
No, it
how
looks
much
it
I
looks
want
better
to.
now.
I love that you have it still with the original strap. The strap is stamped AP.
I was looking to see if it had. I couldn't tell if that little hole, if that was like a ink, if that was an ink splat, or if that was a pusher.
It's probably ink.
It's probably
Where-
ink.
Yeah, I don't think there's any
How do you
pushers.
operate?
Oh,
how do
this?
You just operate it all
Yeah,
through
no,
the
that's
crown?
all. It's operated all through the crown. That's why
Yeah.
he doesn't take
Dude,
this
it's
thing off.
crazy.
Yeah, you can't
It's
take it
such
off.
a nightmare. It's like
It's not a quick set because
No.
it's so old. So it's like if you got to do the wiggle waggle, they call it. You got to go past midnight to change the day and the date.
You gotta bring
and
it
then
back
the day
past
don't sync. You got to
9.
go back to 9
Go
o'clock.
back, so you got to
Yeah.
keep doing.
It's weird. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you got to give this thing a lot of time. What's
You gotta
the
get
what's the
winder
res-
for
what's
it.
the power reserve on this?
not long.
On that thing, like a day,
Not
maybe.
long.
It's
Yeah.
probably like 20 hours.
Facts.
Yeah.
If you take it off tonight,
Yeah,
by
yeah.
tomorrow afternoon,
You gotta sleep with
it's
this
not
thing.
working.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's good for the night, and then it's like, all right, just save yourself the headache. Put this
Yeah.
thing on.
I mean, but that's the special part about it. It needs a lot of TLC, you know, like, and it is a piece that you should love and appreciate. Like when you wear that, like it's something that's a showstopper. It turns heads. People are like, "Oh, what is that?" They want to know what the deal is about that piece.
Isn't it amazing
like
that
no
you
one
can
knows.
own
Really?
a moon phase perpetual calendar watch that's decades old and just time just still goes?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's still accurate. It's still
Yeah.
showing you. the
What
phases
I
of the
think
moon.
is so amazing is that none of these brands make a thin perpetual calendar anymore. I don't get it.
Yeah, no,
It
they're all
boggles my mind.
super thick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Well, everyone's trying to increase the power reserve.
that's fine, but like, make it look nice.
yeah,
This thing is beautiful, man,
it's awesome.
I love it.
and it's mint.
Yeah,
It's mint. Like the case is awesome. The dial is perfect,
Yeah.
and the little splatters of paint just from your tattooing is it just adds more
He
character.
probably has some blood on there too.
No, hell no. Don't say that. There's no.
This thing is
biohazard.
incredible. So this was your second watch.
yeah.
That was my second watch. Yeah.
What did the guys at the shop think when you brought this in?
I don't know.
They were like, "Got him."
I don't think they understood it.
I don't know. They really love Rolex
Yeah.
a lot, and it's understandable. I
Sure.
mean, they're amazing. And their collections are super sick. It's just I don't know. I think maybe there was a bit of confusion because it's like, well, why would you like not brand loyalty shit, but just like I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah. No, I feel it.
Do you think it had more to do with, obviously, I mean, you guys are tattoo artists and value is a big thing and how much you can get for it, right? How much bang for your buck?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, also it's like, I'm not rich.
Sure.
So it's like, okay, putting your money somewhere that's like an asset that's going to retain value or grow is still very important,
Mhm.
And it's kind of like maybe this is more of just like a passion situation where it's like I can't just go get rid of this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like it was a gamble, but it's like I got the shit because I like it.
Yeah.
I've wanted a moon phase situation so bad.
And what year did you say that was, Ben? You think that was 80s?
I think it's 70s.
70s?
Think so?
Yeah, I think it's 70s
Sick.
Yeah.
for sure. Because the Quantine Perpetuals were around the same time, and those came a little after.
It's beautiful, man. So when did the G-Shock come into play?
Well, okay. Funny. It's actually just like a $40 Casio.
Sure.
So
Yes, it's not even a G-Shock.
Oh, it's not even a G-Shock.
No.
It says Casio.
No, I got
wow.
that up the street from my house at a store that's like they're like a locksmith and they sell like umbrellas and then they also have a couple watches. So a few months back I had back surgery and obviously I'm on like antibiotics and medication for that at the time and I was like I'm just gonna like get myself something so I can like set a reminder and just make it easy and I just didn't want to deal with the phone and like I was like it's $40. And
Sure.
it's like,
It's cool
It's
as
like, yo,
fuck.
that watch does more than any of this other shit.
That's the beauty about
When
Casio.
when I saw Frank wearing this, I was like, "Where the fuck did you get that?" I was
You
like, "I
see this?
want one."
Yo, they got them literally right up the street from my house, and
So
of
it's
course
crazy
you like
is
red too.
G-Shock just actually released one of these.
They did the NASA one.
Yeah.
So me
It's
and Frank,
fire.
were like, "Yo, we're gonna get matching G-Shocks." We were talking about it today, and he was like, "Yeah, I want it. It looks like my red one." And I was like, "But the red one don't say NASA on it."
It's true, and that one has the American flag, which
Facts.
is cool.
When you light
And
it
the
up.
astronaut on the back.
You see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sold yourself.
I know that one's fire.
How often do you wear this one?
If I'm gonna go to the beach or something, I'll throw that one on. I used to just wear the Rolex all the time, and now
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe some things should just stay in a safe. So
You got options
like,
now.
I'll wear that one if I'm just like, if I know I'm gonna be doing something where it's like I don't want to wear a nice watch, but I still want a watch, I wear that one.
Isn't it nice to have a Casio when you know you got a Rolex in the safe?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. You appreciate it so much
You
more.
really do.
You
it's,
do.
it's crazy.
Yes.
You find yourself looking at like a Casio or G-Shock, you're like, damn, this is good.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
yo,
good.
if you're walking down the street and you smash your wrist into someone's stoop or something, it's like, who cares? It's
Yeah.
all good. This isn't
It's
going to
all
like
good.
destroy me. Where if it was something else, you're like, oh my God, what
Yeah.
did I just
But
do?
it's also just a lot of fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's not serious. It's just like you don't have to worry about it, and you look at it and you're like, today's a good day.
And it does so much.
It
You got
does
an
everything.
alarm, you got an alarm in there, a calendar,
It does so much.
And I mean,
a
talk
timer.
about legibility. Like,
Yeah, it's like super
you
legible.
can see the
Good to
time
go.
on the
and it
stick
has a
across
light.
the
You
room.
can see it at night.
Yeah.
You know what's funny too, to be honest, because like before we started filming, ironically, and I didn't even know that you had like a Casio or like you own G-Shocks or love G-Shocks, but I was thinking about, because I just acquired another watch.
Of
course.
And this watch that I acquired, I'm waiting for it to come from Germany, but when
Hold on.
What the fuck?
Yo, this dude is just flexing all over the place.
well,
The
so
Montauk suburban dude, watch coming from Germany, just
But is it-
committed
is it a
to
Longa?
a rose gold Rolex. I don't even know you anymore, man. They're looking at the podcast like, this dude's getting money. What's going on over there?
oh man, please,
Dude, please don't let Rashawn fool you.
yes. I'm a basic man. But
I'm a simple man.
yes, but when so the piece that's coming and when it comes in, I thought about it. I was like, man, I love this thing, and I feel like it would be the beta or replacement to my G-Shock because I love my G-Shocks. I have quite a few, but like almost at this point, because it was so memorable to my childhood, I almost treat them.
You
as
treat those
delicate.
precious, yeah.
I treat those precious
Sure.
more than anything else, which I find to be so funny. So it's like
You about
yeah,
to get a Casio.
I mean, no,
So-
but even still, like a Casio, I
Dude,
would
they have
even.
good colors too.
Funny
Yes.
enough, I sent a Casio that I just popped off onto the group chat the other day. I don't
Yes.
know if you saw it.
No, I don't think I saw
I
it.
don't think I see
It's
it.
I sent it in the chat. Check it out.
Okay.
On the Instagram chat?
Yeah, I'm gonna get it. I'll wear it on the show. But I was recently looking at Casio watches. I think because
Oh yes, I do. Yes,
Exactly.
because yes, it's the world time.
thank you.
Right? Yeah, you snitching.
My bad.
It's all good.
My bad.
So I popped off on a Casio World Time.
Oh, because it just came to. I'm like,
It's all good. Rashawn just spoiled it. It's okay though, but I'll wear it on the show. But there was something, we were recording with Jamal, and he had brought up the watch, and then I saw it online, and I was like, man, this is good. And I saw the price, and I was like, I think it was like
even better.
$70. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
no brainer.
I'm trying to find one of those TV watches, those TV Casios that Manny's mom used to sell.
Isn't it nice that like you could get into watch collecting, right? And then it's like when you really love something, and I think this goes back to what you're saying, what you describe as having like a critical eye. And I think your critical eye, at least for me, is just understanding like your aesthetic, what resonates with you. And then when you get to a space where you can, you work hard, you can get a Rolex, you can get an AP. But there's still something about collecting that makes you, and the eye that you have, you appreciate a Casio. You know what I'm saying? Where at some point, it's not about the price, it's about the experience. And you can have an amazing experience with a Casio almost in the same way that you can have with a Rolex.
100%.
It's beautiful.
Mhm.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think it depends how you look at it too. It's like, are you buying watches just to put your money somewhere and maybe like grow it, or do you just like the shit?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So
no, I
it's
know
like-
exactly what you
like,
mean.
The Olympic watches we have, it's like that ain't worth shit.
It's not.
But it's just cool.
It's super cool.
It's
I mean,
just
it's
cool,
worth
and that's
something to us.
okay. You know,
Yes.
there's
Yes.
something special about that.
Yes.
no,
Same with that Casio. It's
totally with you. I think for me, in terms of like collecting, I don't buy anything I anticipate selling or
Right.
flipping. So I'm not buying for. I mean, what it's just it's kind of like the icing on the cake, right? It's like, okay, I work hard, I save up, I'm gonna buy this watch, knowing that it will, if not appreciate, retain the
Yeah.
majority of its value, is a nice added bonus.
Yeah.
100%.
I think
dude.
so.
It's- it is.
100%.
But I'm buying it because A, I want it, and B, the experience. And I think that's something that I know we talk about a lot. We haven't gone into great length in speaking about it, but the experience of wearing a particular watch is something that I think people aren't talking about enough, because there is something there when you slap that watch on your wrist and you go on about your day. You don't forget that it's there.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying?
Because it gives you a feeling within yourself.
It grounds you.
Yeah.
It grounds you to time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not wearing a Rolex to be like, hey, I have a Rolex.
Yeah.
In most cases, like, I roll my sleeves down. Most people don't even know I'm wearing it. And a lot of people, to be honest, don't know.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I come across, I was with someone the other day and they were like, oh, I like that green watch you're wearing. I don't know what it is, but it looks cool. And I'm like, awesome.
Great.
Perfect. That's what I
Perfect.
want.
That's what I want.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, looks
Yes.
great. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't see the crown or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, fantastic. Yeah. And then I look at it and I'm like, man, that's a really good shade of green.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
But I'm looking at it because I'm like, what time is it?
Right. So,
Yeah.
Frank, sorry, Rashawn. I want to ask you a question that I think is a theme amongst not only tattoo artists, but predominantly cash businesses. Why do people always look at things in terms of if this doesn't give me value or, grow my money, it's harder for me to buy?
I think it's maybe like maybe a safety thing or something. You know what I mean? Like you want to feel like you're not just burning money, and it's like, especially with tattooing, like that switch could get turned off tomorrow. It's a luxury. You
Yeah.
don't have to get it.
I mean, they were illegal at one point.
Yeah, no one needs the shit.
Yeah.
It's like you get it because you want it or whatever. You have your reason. So it's like that fear of like, this could be gone tomorrow. So I think the idea of knowing you have something that will retain or appreciate or whatever is kind of like it's like a nice safety blanket or something
Yeah.
to know like, okay, well, I put this here and I have this thing, but I ain't going to lose. So that's comforting.
Yeah.
That's my guess. And I also think it's maybe in tattooing also, and now I'm guessing, I'm not speaking for the industry or anything. I'm purely making a guess here. I think it's also a status thing of like, okay, I've worked hard. I put in my time and this is what I'm going to treat myself with. That's a guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it seems like maybe
It seems like
it
that
could
might
be
be
a
the
good
thing.
guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely think that's part of it.
Yeah.
Like, when
I think
you-
it's part of it for anybody, to be
Yeah,
honest.
you
wanna
purchase a
flex a little bit.
Rolex. It's
Yeah.
you in most cases, like, you've achieved something. If even the achievement is being allocated one,
Yes.
Yeah.
right? Like getting to the point where you fostered relationships, you built a collection, and or just the fostering of a relationship that gets you access. That coupled with the time and the effort and the work that you put in to be able to afford it, to get it, it feels nice.
Yes.
I think it's too a very like, it's funny how your scope can change, like before I would really think that like, okay, you've achieved some level of whatever in whatever industry you're in, you treat yourself, you get this Rolex, and like you said, the allocation thing now is more than ever what I would view it as. But now it's like, once you start learning about other brands and other things, you're like the Jorn, dude.
Yeah.
You put on that SP,
Yeah.
you're
Me
like,
and-
you're like,
me and
oh
Frank-
my God,
Me
this
and-
is
I
something
got-
so different.
I got Frank hooked on FP Jordan now.
I can't believe it. I cannot believe it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to the rabbit hole, my friend.
Oh,
God,
yeah.
it's so deep.
Hey, yo.
It doesn't end.
I knew that was coming. So we've got another special piece on the table. This is a piece that we've talked about often.
Mm-hmm.
We've never had one on the show.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
So I have to let my friend Rashawn do the honors. What brand is this, sir?
Oh, this is Jaeger-LeCoultre.
So if you've been watching the show for a long time, that is definitely an
That's an inside joke.
Yes.
If you're new to the pod,
Go watch all the
want to
old
go back
episodes.
and watch all the episodes, particularly maybe the one with Timepiece, and because that one got a lot of shine.
Yes.
But you have a JLC Reverso.
Yes. The coolest part too, when we started talking about just like your AP or even like how you collected watches or acquire watches, like there are some watches that you own. I even like the Rolex, the AP, and even this one, like someone looking at you is like, why do you own this? Why would you own this? How could you own this? Like being like covered in tattoos, you wearing like an Iron Mike t-shirt, jeans, like walking your dog, and you're wearing like the most iconic dress watch that like
Actually, it's the most iconic sports watch.
Iconic sport watch, yes. This is on a whole nother level of taste. And I think that like for people that know, they know. And for the ones that don't, it blows
catch up.
You got to catch up.
I think one of the most interesting things in this collection right now is that the only time-only watch you have is the Sam Eagle.
Yeah.
You got a Perpetual calendar.
Mm-hmm.
You got a GMT.
And then
you got a travel time.
Yep.
You got a travel
dual
time
time
JLC.
JLC.
Yep.
What is it about this piece that drew you in?
I mean, I didn't know about them. I was in the store to visit Ben, and he was like, yo, check these out. And then the first time you see that thing flip over, you're like, what?
You're like, fuck.
What? This is like a 2-for-1. This thing is so
I remember
cool.
that's what I told you. I was like, yo, it's 2-for-1 special.
Yes.
Yo, I couldn't believe
great
it. I was
salesman.
just like, I didn't even, never would have I have thought something like this could even be, And then I saw it, and it just like, it had its hooks in me. I couldn't stop thinking about it, and I was like, damn, I really like this. Like, this is so special.
Yeah.
It is special.
At least I felt that way, and then
I
still
remember
feel that way.
you.
I love it.
He couldn't sleep. He couldn't sleep. Literally, like pestering Ben about this watch. Like, yo, I gotta have it.
He saw it the first time and he was like, fuck.
And he was like, yo, and he was like, I'm coming back for this because I remember you acquired a timepiece. I think a little bit before you got this one.
Well, yeah, we got the Lady DateJust.
Yes.
But then I came in for my birthday in January, and I was like, I just want to treat myself.
I remember. So the initial thing was, we pumped Grand Seiko a lot, especially in the beginning of the show. And Frank was like, yo, like, what's up with Grand? He just texted me out the blue, and he's like, what's up with Grand Seiko? I want to see some.
They're sick.
So we started looking at Grand Seikos together, and we saw some stuff that we liked. And then I don't know what happened, but we ended up at Jaeger, and I was like,
there was 3.
Yeah.
I remember there was 3. There was a Grand Seiko. There was the Jaeger with the moon phase, but it was big as hell.
Yeah, the X.
And then there was that one.
Yeah.
And obviously the moon phase, I'm like, shit, this thing's raw.
Yeah.
But then I put that one on, and I was like, I just like this.
Yeah.
I like it.
No,
And that was the one.
This thing is awesome. So this watch, though it is a sports watch, I mean, I think today, aesthetically, they're seen as dress watches.
Yes. Yes.
And so there is a little bit of a theme now with these 2 watches that you have, which I think is interesting because it's something that we talked about early on that we still continue, and that's the juxtaposition, right? And the ability to take like a dress watch or like a beautiful watch that's like, it kind of like oozes luxury, and to dress it down, to sort of highbrow, lowbrow it, to wear it with jeans and a t-shirt.
And also
that I think is really awesome.
Yeah. Frank, last time he tattooed me, he was wearing that.
I love a sports watch. They're great. Don't get me wrong. But I also think you walk around and you see them and you're like, okay, these are beautiful and they're cool, and you see them. But I'm like, I don't know. I like the comfort of how it feels on your wrist. A dress watch feels nice.
Yeah.
Because it's the strap. The strap fits you.
Yeah.
It starts to mold to you.
To your wrist. Yeah.
And to be honest, especially in the case of Rolex, once you see a couple sports watches, I feel like they all start to look like the same thing.
They kind of do.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have something on where it's like, yo, no one knows what that is. Walking around, like, you'd have to be ahead to know what that is. Same with this. They're just like, oh, whatever. They don't give a shit. But as soon as you see a bracelet and it's a steel watch or a two-tone,
assume it's a Rolex.
They're like, oh, you know, and it's like, I would rather, I want to fly under the radar a bit here.
Yeah.
And you literally have 2 watches in one.
Yes.
You know, like you can take this watch on vacation. You can take it on a work trip.
Yeah.
And
well, you wore that in, when you were tattooing in California,
Yeah,
right?
I went to Sacramento a couple
That was the
months
only
ago,
watch
and
you took?
That was the one I took, yeah.
Isn't that awesome to just be like, be able to flip your watch and you have the time where
Yeah, and it's crazy
It's so
because,
cool.
to be fair, you own a Rolex GMT.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when you needed a GMT, you took the Reverso.
It's comfortable.
That's
It's
saying
convenient.
something. Yeah.
It doesn't draw attention. I think I you know, I just kind of want to be left alone, and I think that they help for that.
Yeah.
And then when it does draw attention,
Because
You can have a conversation.
you can have
that's
a
what I was-
conversation.
An educated, real,
Well, the
like,
biggest
natural
thing that I was gonna ask was like, I think. Well, first off, I say that I think you draw a lot of attention because you're over 6 feet tall. We're sitting down, so like you're over 6 feet tall, so you're taller than like the average American. You're like, what, you 6'3"?
I think I'm 6'2" if I stand up straight, but my posture is terrible.
So like, I mean, so you're like you're 6'2", 6'3", you're covered in tattoos, like good looking guy. So you're turning heads before you even like show your watch. So how is it that like you already bring attention? How do you not want attention,
Dude,
in a timepiece?
I don't know. I just don't. I don't know.
He's a shy guy.
I mean, like the
Shy,
tattoos
dude.
are enough. I mean, like you're like covered.
Yeah, but think about it. There was a time where this would mean you probably don't want to talk to that person. Just let them be.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something wrong upstairs.
Yeah.
Like, just leave them alone.
Yeah, I
Whereas
remember-
now it's like because of pop culture, it's like this thing. Whereas like, you know, years and years ago, it'd be like, don't talk to that person.
Yeah.
Like, just
Yeah.
let them be on their own. Don't bother them.
Yeah.
And
It's,
now
it's
it's
funny
gone
you say that.
completely
Yeah, I
Did you
remember.
experience that?
What do you mean?
Did you experience? Have you seen that shift where like people were like, oh, like he's very different to now being like, this is actually cool.
If I leave New York, like even if just going to Jersey and like walking around a mall, that will remind me of like, oh yeah, I do have my hands and my neck tattooed, because people are like, you're getting looks, you know the deal.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
like here, it's like you're whatever, you see every damn thing anyway, so it doesn't
Right.
matter. But you go somewhere to like the suburbs or something, and you can feel it.
Yeah.
And it feels like, it's not like, I don't want to be looked at as like disgusting. It's just like, I don't want to be bothered. You know,
No,
Yeah.
I will be nice if someone wants to speak, but like, I didn't get this shit because I want you to come talk to me about it. It's because I was collecting things, and ultimately would probably just like to hey, let that person just like, they're sitting at the bench with their dog. They're probably just enjoying their day. Just let it
Yeah,
be.
leave 'em
Just
alone.
let it
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Which watch do you wear the most?
The AP.
The AP.
Just purely because I don't want to have to deal with resetting it. I was wearing the Reverso nonstop because I had to get this one serviced. So it got put up. But I was always wearing the GMT. Once I got the AP, I was wearing that. Then I got the Reverso and was only wearing that. And since I got this one serviced, I've just been wearing it because I don't want to fuss around with having to reset everything.
Sure.
Mom was having a blast over there.
Yeah, her legs are a little finicky. She's an old girl, so her poor hips bother her. She's just.
How
She's
many
stretching them out.
how many watches do you have total in your collection? Is this the whole collection? here?
I mean, I have like some like bullshit at home that's like nothing. It's like nonsense. You know what I mean? Not even as cool as that Casio. Just like whatever. But this is it.
Okay.
I'm trying to get more, but you know
Yeah.
the deal. It's
What's
impossible.
next?
No,
on your
it's
hit
not
list?
impossible. Hold on. Be
Wait,
quiet.
what?
He said it's impossible to get more. I'm like, no.
No, it's
I
not.
want
possible.
that lefty GMT.
Really?
And I want it because I feel like it gets such a bad rap from so many people, which just makes me think, yeah, I want it even more.
Yeah.
Like the more you hate it, the more I'm like, I want it. I don't know why.
The more other people hate it, the more you want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the contrarian in you.
Yeah, I think
feel
so.
you.
And also, it's like the GMT that I already have is black and green, so I'm like, damn, to have a black and green, but on,
Black and
like,
green
Jubilee
bezel and on Jubilee, yeah.
would be so
Yeah.
fire. To
It is
just like
fire.
only GMTs I have are just black and green. It'd be sick.
Yeah.
It'd be so sick.
No, that's actually really cool. I like that theme.
Yeah.
Do you have a Grail watch?
You know, for a long time it was an Aquanaut, which Ben used to wear one, and I didn't think anything of it because I was like, oh, I don't know. And then as you learn, you're like, damn, that's fire. And then now that he put me onto the FP Journe, I'm like,
Yeah, we need
give me a
we need
black,
black
label
labels.
Journe or a mother of pearl.
Yeah.
Let's go. Any one of those. I mean,
Yo,
yeah.
we went crazy. We got this thing. Whoever hits the lotto first has to buy a joint for the other
Yeah,
one.
hell yeah.
I mean, Lotto's at 800 million
I know.
right now.
What the Elegante one too? That's like
That's fire.
you put me onto that one, and like I would love to get one of those. But
Listen,
it's
I
like,
hit Lotto.
how do
Everybody
you
in the
even
studio
get that?
gets an FP Journe.
Oh wow.
Yeah, of course. I mean, yo, if you win almost
Norma
a bill,
gets
let's
an
go.
FP Journe.
We
joked about
were
that. We were joking
talking
about
about
that.
hanging a Patek or a joint off a collar.
Yeah, why not?
If I had a Patek and imagine it's like, oh, you're like, oh, is this it? And it's like, oh, wait a second, yeah, Jean actually has one on. Come on over here.
Come here, Gina.
She has work. She
Let me
works
get
in
the
the
time.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm glad you were able to join us this evening, my man.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure
Such
to
a
have
pleasure.
you.
Such a pleasure.
And
You know.
we needed to do it now for sure.
Yeah, we needed to do it now. I know you're moving.
Yeah, end of August.
End of August, so you'll be leaving New York City, and we're losing you to Texas.
I'll be back to visit.
I know you'll
I
be
mean,
back.
And you guys will be down to
and we'll
visit.
be down
It's
there.
oh, yeah,
Austin,
for sure. I'll
Austin,
definitely come
Texas
visit.
Austin, Texas is an awesome place to visit.
I love Texas, so I'll be there.
I have an aunt who lives out there, and she's originally New York born and raised, and she loves out there. She's been out there for 10 plus years. But I think you're gonna have a blast, and I can't wait to see what's next for you in the future.
I appreciate it.
I have to figure out how to come see you and get a tattoo before you bounce.
Anytime.
Okay, all right,
got
we'll
you.
figure it out.
I'm
Oh,
good.
it's a text away. That's all. it
Me
is.
and Bang Bang getting in there at least 2 more times.
Okay,
Chris has
Sure.
been going hard. Dude.
Yo, he's
Has
got a
he?
tattoo twice
He's
in 2
a
weeks.
warrior.
wow.
Straight up warrior.
Shout out to Bang.
Shout out to Bang Bang.
But thank you for hanging out with us tonight and shooting with us. This has been a real treat.
Yes.
I think you have an amazing collection. I like your aesthetic. I like the way that you look at timepieces.
Thank you.
I think it's really, really cool. And then, thank you for one of my favorite timepieces. And I promise you, every time I wear it, the grill is getting lit up.
Facts.
I love
Yes.
that.
And
I
it's
love
all
that.
good.
How you cook your steak when you cook a steak?
If it's for me,
Oh,
Yeah.
Frank likes it like leather.
Wait, don't even say it.
yeah.
He could cook a mean steak.
I prefer my steak that I make for myself, medium rare.
Okay. I'm not even gonna say what I like because it's everyone hates on it. So,
Should I
Well
say
done.
it?
dude,
Bro, he
well,
wants
you could just char me. Give me a piece of charcoal, and I would love it.
No.
I want it just
He just chews into a
scorched.
jacket.
Oh.
It's so bad.
So what
Just
I do is
beef
I get the
jerky.
flame really hot, and that's when I put it on. So I'm scorching the outer, but
Yeah, it
that
gets a good
center
crust.
is juicy
Yeah.
and it's red. But the trick is that a lot of this has turned into a
Yo, hold
pitmaster
on.
show.
We went to Luger's one night, and he was like, "What are we gonna do about the steak situation?" And I was like, "Get the steak for 2. I'll have my medium rare and get
Yeah.
yours however you
I
want."
cook it on the plate.
I was like, "Yo, they can do it." So they
Oh,
bring out
no.
the plate. You know, they say, "Oh, like the plate is hot," and they'll cook a little bit of it on the plate. The whole night, Frank takes his steak and just on the plate, and I'm like, "This is ridiculous."
I can't help it. That's how I was raised. I
I
love
feel
it.
you. It's like beer. It's like people drink the beers that they grew up with.
Yeah.
So you eat your steak in the same way. For most people, I used to eat them well done. That's
Yeah.
how I was raised.
Yes.
And then I realized that wasn't steak. So, but
Maybe I'll
listen,
get there.
it's like coffee. Like you start off milk and sugar, then you go to just milk, and then after a while it's just black.
coffee.
Yeah, that was my
I
dad.
know, what are y'all talking about? Give me all the milk and
Yeah,
all the
no, no,
sugar.
no.
So-
I want it to taste like candy.
I don't drink. I barely drink coffee, but if I ever do, I want it to be just like that. My
Yeah, I only
dad,
take it black.
my dad, on the other hand, growing up, black, no sugar, and I'm talking about a tall cup of coffee. He used
That's
to
me
drink coffee
today.
maybe 4 or 5 times a day.
I
It
drink
was
at
so
least 3
bad.
of those.
It was
whether
crazy.
iced or hot, just black.
Jet fuel. That's what that's called.
Delicious if you go to the right place.
I'm good.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not gonna give away all my grilling secrets.
Don't.
You'll have to come to the house,
All right.
Yeah.
and I'll chef it up for you. And if you want your steak well, I got you.
No, if I'm
Maybe
in
we
your
do-
home, just however I need to have it there. I respect
I do everything according to whoever's there. I'm the hostess with the mostest.
We should do a going away barbecue for Frank. You guys did one for me.
Oh, that'd be killer.
Going away to the guy came
Yeah,
back
what the fuck?
with more watches.
We were about to start a fake beef and all that with you. You lucky you came back when you did.
Oh,
we
man.
was plotting.
Yeah.
No.
But this was something. Thanks again, my man. And to all of you guys out there, guys and gals who support the Rich Tech Podcast, we appreciate you. You know where to find us at Instagram. We are at Rich Tech Pod. On YouTube, Rich Tech Podcast. We're also on Spotify,
Yep.
audio and visual, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Just
Everywhere.
search Risk Check Podcast, and there will be. We're also on TikTok for all the children,
The children.
as we like to say. And we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Deuces.